well. Yes, we can do that. Uh, just spread the word, guys, amongst your people about the community. So this is, as of now, this is not an official Dynatrace community, right? This is more of a personal or an unofficial, or this is my project that I'm running on, right? That I want to make sure that people know Dynatrace, people talk about Dynatrace, and wherever you have any challenges, wherever you have any issues, you know people to reach out to. You have a community of people, you have a lot of folks that you can talk about, right? And just a quick thing, guys, at any given point of time, if you want, if you feel like that you have any questions, you want to talk about anything specific, please feel free to go ahead, unmute yourselves, and put out your questions, or you can just raise your hands, right? And I'll be trying to give the answers to your questions, right? But please, during the entire session, right? Don't unmute your mics unless and until you don't want to speak something, right? So that's the house rule, that's the ground rules that we will be just talking about, right? So I hope you guys can see my screen. Just give me a hands up or a cheer, or be vocal about it that you can see my screens. Perfect, perfect.
Yes, Rishabh.
Okay. So this is a free Zoom link. So ये 40 मिनट में expire हो जाएगा. So I'll just quickly get started, right? So now I am sure that people can see my screen, right? So guys, let's talk about Dynatrace, right? What are the basics of Dynatrace, right? So what's exactly in the agenda, right? ये कोई rocket science नहीं है. This is no rocket science, right? It's purely basic stuff. This is more of a technical stuff. Today we are just going to do an intro kind of a session to understand the turnaround of the people, and followed by that we will just be doing more in-depth sessions later on, probably next week, and post that. So every week I'll be trying to do it, but as of now, this is again an unofficial community that we are trying to build up, and this is not something official from Dynatrace, right? So let's just get started. What are the basics of Dynatrace, right? And what's in the agenda today, right? So we'll primarily be focusing on these four different points, right? And we'll just try to answer a couple of your questions around Dynatrace or anything. Let me just put the messaging on these sides, right? So what basically is Dynatrace, right? Dynatrace क्या करता है? Dynatrace क्या है? What exactly is the purpose? Why we should use Dynatrace? Can Dynatrace really help out in our day-to-day scenarios, right? Or I have some clients in this particular domain. Is Dynatrace really suited product for that particular domain? So that's what we will try to understand. And then followed by that, we will have the architecture understanding, right? So Dynatrace का architecture कैसा है, or how basically Dynatrace is designed, or how it communicates, or how it works in the background, right? And then what exactly is OneAgent, or what is that mighty OneAgent that we talk about every other day? It, that we have got OneAgent, we do this, we do that, right? And followed by that, we'll just do a Q&A session, right? So primarily, the entire set would run for 20, 25 odd minutes, or let's say 30 odd minutes, and then we get like 10, 15 minutes for our Q&As, right? So let's just get started. What basically is Dynatrace, guys, right? So Dynatrace is an AI-based platform where you can observe, you can analyze, you can automate your uh, application performance, right? You can understand, right? So just going by the words which Dynatrace has officially documented in their reference links. So Dynatrace is a revolutionary platform that delivers analytics, automation, and unified observability and security, right? So if you look out for this particular definition, right? So what Dynatrace does analytics, right? A lot of analytics, right? Dynatrace has inbuilt capability to do automations, right? And observability is built into our core, right? And recently, about three odd years back, or probably 4 odd years back, we started off with security, or basically Dynatrace started off with security, right? And along with that, let's say if you are using the Dynatrace platform, right, it will help you, it will empower you to deliver answers, right? So usually, day in, day out, you must be getting a lot of questions from your customer that my application is not performing well, it is performing slow, there are a lot of failures, there are a lot of problems, right? Dynatrace has the answers to that, right? And with that, I'm not saying guys कि Dynatrace सब कुछ कर सकता है, ठीक है? Still, there are certain areas where you have technological limitations, you have people's problem, you have process related issues, right? But Dynatrace can help you get to the answers real quick, right? So that's where I would want to position it, right? It basically empowers you. It helps you to understand or breaks that silos, right? So आप अभी आपके environment में you can feel free guys to put your questions in the chat, or if you have any suggestions, or if you have been facing all of these things in the chat box, right? So that I can know and we can also go on and talk about that, right? So it basically breaks down the entire siloed approach, right? So the network team will work in their own departments, the database will work in their own departments, the apps will work in their own departments, right? And we don't really want all of them to give different answers, right? We want everybody to talk that same thing, right? We want everybody to talk about that. Yes, this is where the problem really is, and not a blame game kind of situation, right? So that's where Dynatrace really helps you, right? And in the end, it's not just a product that tells you that there is a problem, right? We are a solution which provides the actual solution to a problem. We are a solution that tells you the answers. We are a solution that gives you the accurate answer, right? So with that, we'll just be moving down to the next slide, right? Which is knowing the platform, right? So डायनाट्रेस इतनी चीजें करता है, बट डायनाट्रेस एक्चुअली करता क्या है? डायनाट्रेस के इंटरनल क्या क्या मॉड्यूल्स हैं, डायनाट्रेस में क्या चीज कैसे दिखती है, डायनाट्रेस में क्या चीज मैं कैसे कर सकता हूँ, राइट? सो विल जस्ट क्विकली अंडरस्टैंड दैट, राइट? Sorry, guys, you cannot really record on this, your desktops or laptops. But anyways, I have started the recording and I'll probably share it around, right? So it is going to be more of a link, or probably I'll post it on a YouTube channel or something like that, so that you can have access to it lifelong, right? So let's just get to know about the Dynatrace platform, right? So Dynatrace platform क्या करता है, Dynatrace platform में क्या होता है, let's understand that, right? So let's say आपको अगर अपना infrastructure monitor करना, or you basically want to monitor your servers, right? Very pretty much basic components, right? File server, app server, database server, web server, MQ server, or anything, right? Let's say you just want to basically monitor your servers, right? Dynatrace helps you monitor your servers, right? Let's say you want to understand कि मेरे server पे कहाँ पे problem है, whether it is that CPU which is causing that issue, whether it is that memory which is causing that issue, or is it the disk which is causing that latency and internally that is impacting your applications, right? You can easily get on to Dynatrace and you can identify that very easily, right? So the second layer is application observability, right? Servers की हमने बात कर लिया, but servers के साथ साथ definitely there are going to be an application which is going to be hosted, right? It could be your web servers, it could be your app servers, right? जिस पे अपाचे टॉमकैट चल सकता है, अपाचे एचटीटीपी चल सकता है, पाइथन चला सकता है, कुछ भी चला सकता है, राइट? सो अगर आपको वो सारी चीजें मॉनिटर करनी है, सो डायनाट्रेस का एक मॉड्यूल है which is basically that same one agent that gets installed here, and then that's is another same agent that gets installed here, but there are two different modes, right? The first is called as okay, the first is called as the infrastructure mode, and the second is called as the full stack mode, right? So आप full stack mode में आप पूरा का पूरा application monitor कर सकते हो, right? And then we get along with the additional modules, which is called as the security protection, or let's say you want to understand what are the security vulnerabilities within my environment, or what are the, let's say, threats, what are the attacks, or what are the problems that are happening with respect to security. आपका application vulnerable तो नहीं है, मैंने लॉक 4J तो नहीं कॉल करा रखा है अपने एप्लीकेशन में, या मैंने कुछ ऐसा तो नहीं कर रखा है. सो डायनाट्रेस आपको हेल्प करता है टू अंडरस्टैंड वेयर योर प्रॉब्लम्स रियली आर इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ योर सिक्योरिटी एज वेल, इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ योर वल्नरेबिलिटी एज वेल. Okay, sorry guys, I'll just try to put it up in English, but that's how my Northy guy comes in. But I'll definitely try to put everything up in English, right? And at the same time, you get security analytics where you can basically analyze all of these problems, right? And you can understand that how these security issues are actually impacting your application and how you can fix it, right? Or what needs to be done, or let's say the recent CrowdStrike, right? everybody had an outage, right? So Dynatrace was able to predict, basically Dynatrace was able to detect and tell you upfront, and there is an entire blog post about it as well, so I'll also be sharing that link, right? And then let's say you want to do digital experience monitoring, right? You want to monitor the customers, you want to monitor what all activities they are doing, whether they are having a successful transaction or they are having a failed transaction, or let's say they are not very happy, they are very frustrated about it, they are sad, the transaction broke, I'm not able to make a UPI payment, I'm not able to send let's say a request over on LinkedIn or something like that, right? So anything that has to do with the application or the customer's experience or the front end, that's where digital experience comes into play, or that's where we use the digital experience monitoring of Dynatrace, right? With that, just by combining information coming in from all of these sources, we also give you the business analytics, right? When I say that we give you business analytics, this basically means that I'll help you understand whether the customer is adapting to your product quickly, easily, and how well his or her experience is. And with that, I'll also help you with business suggestions, right? That if you will do this, then you may achieve more and more of dollar value. If you will do that, then probably the customers will feel more satisfied, more happier, more connected to the application, right? And the second last leg is going to be automations, right? So as of now, probably some of you might have been doing this, right? But you must have been using Ansible, you must have been using, let's say, Chef or Puppet or any other different platforms, right? To do or automate. Some of you people might be using BMC Control M or something like that to run your automated scripts or pipelines, right? So that's where Dynatrace can help you automate these entire things. Dynatrace can really integrate with all of these products, as well as the Dynatrace platform has got inbuilt automation units, right? That can automate that entire process, right? So let's say within your organizations, you may probably have a scenario where you are an infra guy, you're sitting day in, day out, and every weekend you have to go back, clear the logs, or move the files from one directory to another directory, and you're so tired you don't want to do it, right? Just a very basic example, right? So with Dynatrace, you can basically automate that particular task and you don't have to sit on it anymore, right? You can just tell Dynatrace that you have to move these files from here all the way back to another directory, right? And no longer you have to sit on your consoles. It will be a scheduled task and it will be done every weekend automatically, right? And you are good. You have your 1 hour back with you. आपको 1 घंटा अपना वापस मिल जाता है. Right? So that's where the automation really comes into play. And not just that particular automation, you can basically do a shift left, right? So let's say if you by any chance somebody has pushed a faulty built in production, right? And that is impacting your application, right? So what you can do, you can tell Dynatrace that if my application breaks or if my application goes offline or is not available or certain pages are not responding, you can literally roll back your deployments as well, right? So that's where the power of Dynatrace kicks in, right? And in the end, right? Again, as I just stated earlier, everything cannot come up in a single same platform, right? There still could be certain areas where you would say that, okay, Rishabh, this is something that I would want Dynatrace to build into their platform, but this does not exist, right? So with that, Dynatrace has a play store or an app store for Dynatrace, which is called as Dynatrace Hub, right? Or Dynatrace extensions. There you can integrate with custom solutionings, or you can integrate with other tools, you can integrate with other different platforms, right? And these are all available for free. So there are some partner developed plugins as well that comes up with a paid cost attached to it, but most of them are usually free down there, right? And that becomes a part of the Dynatrace hub, right? So जो भी a custom solutioning है, this becomes a part of the Dynatrace hub, right? Along with that, right? So a follow-up question could be that, okay, Rishabh, there are these different modules within Dynatrace, right? Do I need to have 10 different products, or is it just one single thing, right? So this entire thing that we just talked about, right? यहाँ पे जितनी भी चीजों के ऊपर में एक सेकेंड, सो ये पूरे प्लेटफॉर्म के ऊपर में, right? what we talked about, this becomes part of the Dynatrace platform. This is one single product, and we are not referencing 10 different tools, 10 different things, right, to do all of these things, right? And with that, right, so with this, Dynatrace has got this model, or you can say an inbuilt AI platform, which is called as Dynatrace Davis AI, right? Which is a mix of cognitive causal AI engines that is also built into the platform itself, right? So Davis understands that what is going wrong within your infrastructure, or what is going wrong within your application observability, or what is wrong within your security layer, or let's say the people are not really happy, or you're losing out on your business, and this is somewhere I need to automate certain tasks. So Davis will tell you that what are the areas where there is a problem and how you can mitigate those problems, or how you can actually fix those root causes, right? So Davis tells you the root causes. Davis tells you that this is how your engines are, or your applications are correlated with one another, and you get to know about it upfront. You get to know about the problems, right? So no more manual correlations, no more manual thresholding. You don't have to sit every day and see a screen, right? Davis provides you the right answers, right? So this is going to be a follow-up thing on one of our session, which is going to be Davis AI, कि ये कैसे काम करता है, how basically it really works, what happens in the background, or how the correlation and everything really works, right? Followed by that, so Davis needs a lot of data to work upon, right? Or any AI engine will require a lot of data to work upon, right? So that's where Dynatrace has come up with its own proprietary solution, or a data lakehouse, which we call as Grail, right? So that's a graphical representation of the data points, right? So you can use this Grail, right? And this Grail is again built into the Dynatrace platform itself, right? So all of the things that I'm going to talk about in today's session and the follow-up sessions, right, it will straight away be based on this particular platform, and it has got nothing to do apart from the platform, right? So once the Davis requires a lot of data, it gets all of its data from Grail. It sources all of its data from Grail itself. So, and what is Grail? So Grail is basically the data lakehouse of Dynatrace, over which we can use it for a lot of analytics. We can use it for predictions. We can use it to tell you what is really going to happen in near future with your applications, right? So it sounds too good to be true, but yes, that is where Dynatrace is already heading to. It's already there, right? And with that, Dynatrace has a solution that probably people who have been using Dynatrace for a while, they must have known, right? Dynatrace OneAgent, right? So it's nothing but just a single agent that helps you monitor and do all of these things, right? So with just one single agent, you can monitor your entire application. You don't really need a single agent for infrastructure. I assume all modules together is platform, or is it different? Yes, all of these modules are part of that same platform. You don't need different things to do it, right? So this is all part of one single platform, right? So with that, we were just talking about OneAgent. So OneAgent is just a single unified agent that can monitor your infrastructure, that can monitor your network, that can do your log monitoring, that can do the application monitoring, that can do database monitoring, or basically anything that you want to talk about. Davis is the solution for you, right? However, I'll not say that it is like the soul thing that can do like हर जगह नहीं जा सकता, ठीक है? There are still some areas where the technology does not really allows us to get ourselves injected, right? Let's say people will talk about AWS, right? There are AWS managed services. How do you manage to get data from there, right? So with that, one agent cannot really go on to anything that does not allows us to install an agent, right? If you can install an agent, right, I can probably give you all of these things. But if you cannot really go on and install an agent, I will not be able to provide you all of these things. However, there are solutions, there are, I would say, ways in which you can fetch all of the details from other different sources as well. But the one agent is not one of the solutions for that, right? And with one agent, what are the details that we are going to get in, right? So you get automated topology mapping system. You get your traces, right? So we will see in the subsequent sessions that what are these traces or what are these different values, right? You get metrics, right? You can monitor your logs. You can see the user's behavior, right? You can see the application specific details in terms of which are the areas where your application is actually causing problem, right? You get a lot of metadata, you get lot of metadata, and you can monitor your network as well, right? So don't worry, guys. I'll be sharing this particular recording as well, right? Or not exactly sharing. I'll be uploading it on a common platform where everybody can access it, right? So that you guys can go ahead and review it later on as well. But just making a point, make sure that you are present in the session and you don't really feel like, okay, I'll go back and see the recording, because then you miss out the opportunity of asking your questions, right? So with this, any questions, guys, so far? Anything that you have in mind? Surprised to see event is missing event. Okay. Surprised to see events is missing event through supported. I don't know, like probably that
Okay,
question was.
Rishabh, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
So what I'm mentioning here is, as part of observability, MELT is the concept. Metrics, events, logs, and traces is the four pillars of the observability.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see the Dynatrace very well supports the logs and events in ingestion part.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
even when you're taking the demo, I was keenly looking that events is missing in the base layer of this one. So
Okay.
that's what. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay, so the events are combination of all of these things, right? So the metadatas can help you get the events, right? The logs itself internally creates an event, right? So with certain traces, you get an event, right? So we haven't really explicitly mentioned events down here, but yes, you do get events in Dynatrace. So it exists.
okay, one more follow-up question regarding my previous question. This is need to be get clarified from your side also. So what I assume is automation engine, app engine, Smartscape, Davis AI, Grail, ingest, PurePath on OneAgent. I believe all these things are together is known as a platform. Because you put an arrow, everything, and you say it goes to the platform. So
Mhm.
is that platform itself a separate engine kind of thing where it's the kernel of this Dynatrace or how?
I would not put in that Dynatrace platform as an engine or something. You can say that let's say all of these different modules are built into one single solution, and you don't really need, like in earlier times, right? For infrastructure you will be using a different product, right? For application or APM related objectives you'll be using a different products. For digital experience you may be using Google Analytics or something like that, right? For business analytics you'll be using let's say Power BI or Tableau. I'm not saying that we replace Power BI or Tableau, because you can do a lot. But let's say you want to do analytics on top of your metrics, your logs, your business events, and all that, right? And you would want to automate, right? So you will have a separate product for that. So that's all which is built into this platform. So that's one single tool that helps you achieve all of these things, right?
So that means that this all together is known as a platform, correct?
Yes, yes,
Because that arrow makes me in a different idea. That's the reason this all question started. Okay, when you
yeah.
put that arrow, I thought everything going to the platform. So that is itself a separate.
No, no. So this entire thing
Uh,
probably, I'm not sure. Maybe I might have.
the arrow showed me everything reports to the platform. Okay, so that's the reason this question is started. Okay.
Yeah. So the point here was that everything that you see down here, this entire thing is a platform. So this entire thing is the Dynatrace platform.
Got it. Okay, fine. I'm clear with that one. Okay, after this
Okay.
arrow, I also little was confused and I was started searching what is this and all this.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Good thing. Okay. So just moving forward. So guys, just wanted to check again. Do you have any more questions? Do you have anything? Feel free to let me know or put it in the chat. I'll try to answer to those. So just moving forward, right? From the platform, we'll be just talking about the architecture of that space, right? Because we want to head towards that direction, right? So this is how the architecture of Dynatrace really looks like. So that's a very high level architecture that I'm showcasing. It can vary depending upon customer to customer, right? But ideally, this is how things are going to be, right? So let's say you have OneAgent. So these are basically OneAgent. So when you see these cute little icons, so these are OneAgents, right? And it could be your web server. So a Dynatrace agent gets installed on your servers, right? So ground level rules. Whenever we talk about agents, definitely Rupesh, we'll be talking about it, right? So let's say the OneAgent gets installed primarily on anything that has an OS, right? Windows, AX, okay. ठीक है. Windows, AIX, Linux, Solaris, ZOS, तो agents इस पे आप install कर सकते हो, right? So from your agents, you send that data all the way back to a forwarder or to a collector, which is basically called as environment active gate or Dynatrace active gates, right? And with those Dynatrace active gates, you can send in all of the information back to the Dynatrace SaaS, right? So this is how ideally the communication really works from the agents all the way back to the Dynatrace SaaS cluster, right? And then, so this Dynatrace can be sitting outside of your premise, right? It does not really require you to set it within your own data center. However, if you want, you can definitely see or you can definitely install Dynatrace within your data centers. But ideally, this is a SaaS architecture, so ये आपका बाहर रहता है, right? So some people could question that I don't really want this active gate to be residing down here. I don't really want all of these things. You can definitely punch a lot of holes within your firewall and you can directly send that data, but that's not the ideal route that we suggest for the customers or for any of our customers, right? The ideal way is to send via the OneAgent to the active gate and then to the Dynatrace SaaS platform, right? So that's the architecture of Dynatrace, right? So just moving forward, let's talk about Mighty OneAgent because we just have 10 odd minutes left, right? So I just want to wrap it up real quick, right? So what OneAgent is, so I'll be sharing anyways this particular slide deck and the recording, right? So you can just go through that, right? So OneAgent is basically the agent coming in from Dynatrace. Is there any specific difference between Dynatrace Managed and SaaS deployment architecture? No. So there isn't any like fundamentally there isn't any difference. It's just that the SaaS has Dynatrace sitting in cloud on different regions, right? However, the managed comes up with the flexibility that you can install Dynatrace within your own data centers, within your own, let's say, premise. So that's just the difference. उसके अलावा Dynatrace primarily दोनों केस में architecturally same काम करता है. Okay. So what really happens in the background when we install the OneAgent, right? So ये let's say मेरे containers हैं, right? So similarly, I will just get one of the Dynatrace containers, right? मैं एक Dynatrace की एक Docker image pull करता हूँ. So this is in terms of OpenShift or Kubernetes, right? And it applies the same way for other different solutions as well, right? So I'll just download an image or a container for Dynatrace, right? And the minute I download it, I deploy all of these agents back on all of these nodes automatically without doing anything. So that gets installed as a daemon set. And the minute you install these on your, let's say, servers, you start getting a lot of details. You start getting a lot of visibility to everything, right? So let's say you have your data centers, you can monitor that. Let's say you have your servers, you can monitor that. Let's say you have different JVMs, CLRs, different processes running on your servers. जो आप task manager में देखते हो, you can monitor that. Let's say you have different services, right? When I say services, these basically means your APIs, right? आपके databases हो सकते हैं, right? So you can monitor that, and it all leads to application, right? So this is basically a vertical and an horizontal dependency map stitching starting from your data centers all the way back to your application, and you get to monitor each and everything, right? And with that, so this is the upside journey of it. And if we look within a particular service, so you also get to know that this is my service, which is linked with this, which is linked with another problematic one, and another one, and another one, right? So this is how my entire flow really looks like, or this is how the things within my environment is interconnected with one another, right? And this is all again automatically built. You don't have to do anything manual. आपको कोई definition rules नहीं लिखने. You don't have to like do a join, or you don't have to create a dependency mapping or correlation ID or anything. It's all done out of the box. It's all part of the platform, right? And followed by that, you can monitor your applications in much depth कि कितने users आ रहे हैं, कितने users active हैं, किस location से problem है, और where is the entry that is been happening, how many active users are there, right? Or what are my goals that or business goals that I want to achieve out of my application, right? Yes, again, there will be a lot of follow-up discussions on this, right? But this is just a high-level overview that I'm giving to you about the Dynatrace platform, right? And whether you are meeting your business objectives or not, right? So all of these things are part of the platform itself, and these are out-of-the-box dashboards. So I don't have created anything manually. These are out of the box events or diagrams or dashboard that I'm showcasing out, right? And our own favorite topic, Kubernetes cluster, right? So with Dynatrace, you get seamless monitoring of your Kubernetes cluster. You get to know where exactly the problems really are within my workloads, how much resources are they really consuming, whether the nodes are healthy or not, right? Or if there are any problems in terms of any of these things, right? You get end-to-end visibility within Dynatrace platform for your Kubernetes cluster, right? And by collecting all of that data points, we come to easy, seamless root cause identification, right? So this is one of the problem cards page within Dynatrace, where you get to know where exactly is the problem, what is the root cause of that particular problem, right? And why is there a root cause? Because the response time of the application has breached by a certain extent or a certain percentage, and that has actually led to this problem, right? So this particular entity caused a problem on my application, and hence my application is really suffering because of that, right? With that, guys, I'll just wrap up the session. So anything that you have in mind, any questions, you can put it in the chat because we just have got 4 minutes left. That's a free Zoom link that I have. Please share the Dynatrace architecture component details. Sure thing, I can do that. Right. So anyways, इसके अंदर में आपका ईशानी ये जो diagram है, right? So I have these reference links on the screen. So ये आपके reference links हैं. On every page, you will be finding these reference links, right? You can also go to the Dynatrace documentations and you can read about it even more, right? So each of these pages will have these reference links, and I'll try in future as well to put all of these reference links so that it you get the official kind of notification and not something that I am stating, right? But the official statements that I'm making right here, right? Okay. So any questions, guys? Just unmute yourself. We just have got 3 minutes left. उसके बाद ये Zoom link automatically बंद हो जाएगा, right? So any questions, anything that you have in mind, you can post it in the WhatsApp group as well. You can ask for any questions there. Let's say if something gets left out, right?
Yeah, hi Rishabh.
Yep, Prashant.
Yeah, Rishabh, actually, I just want to ask today's session is very good, means for beginners also. So, going forward, the session will continue like this, or will there be any paid fees or something like that?
Okay, so just a quick clarification, guys, because a lot of people have reached out to me. I have no plans to make this a paid subscription or anything. कोई पैसे नहीं देने. You don't have to pay any single rupee to me or to anybody to get into these sessions. This is purely a hobby of mine, or this is purely, let's say, something that I'm passionate about that I'm doing out for all of you guys. I don't have any intentions of making money out of this, right? So that's just the thing, right? So no paid subscriptions, no paid communities, nothing. Yes, but we are in talks. Like I am basically talking internally with a lot of people from my organization, basically Dynatrace, so that we can migrate this from WhatsApp, which is not so professional, to something as Dynatrace community or something else, right? But yes, we are trying for that. Like basically, I'm trying for that. Okay. Dolly bhai. Okay, drawing lines is funny, but yes, you can do that. Okay. So this is it. But yeah, it will take some
Hello.
time. Yeah, Jatin.
Hi, Rishabh. I'm pretty new to this topic, and I just want to know that whether when we don't have a specific criteria, like when we don't have any servers, or we need to install some like get the traces from other platforms, and where we are not able to install OneAgent, and what we have to do for that.
Sure thing. This link is going to expire in like next 10 odd seconds. So WhatsApp group के ऊपर आप पूछ लो ये चीज़ सर.
Sure.